Welcome to Maspeth High School's Safety Town Hall, brought to you by the School Safety Committee and the Building Response Team. The purpose of this town hall is to provide the safety protocols that are in place at Maspeth High School. The safety and security of all students and staff is the New York City Department of Education's top priority. Administrators, deans, the purpose of this town hall is to provide the safety protocols that are in place at information and action management teams exist within each school or non-school building. These teams are activated to respond to school or student-related emergency incidents before first responders arrive. The BRT can also be activated for special events. BRTs consist of members working under the direction of the principal through the single BRT leader. Not all members will be activated for every incident or event. There is one BRT for each building. For the BRT on a campus, the BRT is designed with representation from each school. As members of the BRT, these employees are trained to collect and provide accurate information to the principal and BRT leader in the command post. BRT members do not self-activate. BRT members are not first responders. The Building Response Team leader is responsible for providing direction, leadership, and guidance to BRT members during an emergency or event. The BRT leader activates and assigns the necessary BRT members. The BRT leader is the communications liaison between the BRT and the principal during any emergency and/or event. The Special Needs Coordinator is the primary point of contact when issues with special needs and limited mobility students and staff arise during an emergency. The Special Needs Coordinator will account for all special needs LM students and staff during emergencies, collect information on missing individuals, and ensure that all special needs students and staff have access to specific rooms or resources during incidents. For buildings with Life Center and/or District 75 program, an additional SNC for each program will be identified to complete the same tasks and work with the SNC. These team members will be selected by the respective program principal. The incident assessor is activated to the location of the emergency for the purposes of gathering and reporting information. The incident assessor must maintain an activity log to be able to create an accurate timeline of events. The incident assessor reports information to the BRT leader so that the principal remains informed and can make critical decisions during the next steps that the team will take. The emergency officer works directly with the BRT leader. The emergency officer provides incident and event support by giving the BRT leader regular updates on the status of the situation and the actions of other BRT members from various points of activation. This information allows the BRT leader and principal to make critical decisions at the command center. The Assembly Point Coordinator visits all evacuation and relocation sites listed in the safety plan. The Assembly Point Coordinator verifies capacities and assesses the usefulness of the spaces to be occupied. The assembly point coordinator also designates entrances and exits to be used during relocations. Lastly, the assembly point coordinator exchanges contact information such as cell phone, office numbers, and alternate numbers of other BRT members at home and host schools. The recorder is responsible for collecting all essential elements of information from the scene. The General Response Protocol. The General Response Protocol has been designed to provide all schools with the direction they will take when an emergency incident occurs. At its core is the use of common language to identify the initial measures all school communities will take until first responders arrive. During an evacuation, the fire alarm system is the initial alert for staff and students to initiate an evacuation or a fire drill. During an evacuation, students are trained to leave belongings behind, form a single file line. In cold weather, students should be reminded to take their coats, if available in the classroom, when leaving the classroom. Students without proper outdoor attire will be secured in a warm location as immediately as possible. During evacuations, teachers are trained to grab an evacuation folder with emergency instructions, class roster, attendance, allergies, and special needs. They will lead students to evacuation location as identified on fire drill posters, take attendance and account for students, and report injuries, problems, or missing students to school staff and first responders using assembly cards. Soft lockdowns versus hard lockdowns. A soft lockdown implies that there is no identified imminent danger to sweep teams. Administrative teams, building response teams, and school safety agents will mobilize to the designated command post for further directions. Hard lockdown implies that imminent danger is known and no one will engage in any building sweep activity. All individuals, including the school safety agent, will take appropriate lockdown action and await the arrival of first responders. Attention! We are in a lockdown. Take proper action. This message is repeated 2 times over the public address system, whether it's a soft lockdown or a hard lockdown. During a lockdown, students are trained to move out of sight and maintain silence. During lockdowns, teachers are trained to check the hallway outside of the classroom for students, lock classroom doors, and turn the lights off. They move away from sight and maintain silence. They wait for first responders to open the door or until hearing the all clear message. The lockdown has been lifted, followed by specific directions. Lastly, teachers are trained to take attendance and account for missing students by contacting the main office. Attention! This is a shelter-in. Secure exit doors. This message is repeated 2 times over the PA system during a shelter-in event. During a shelter-in event, students are trained to remain inside of the building, conduct business as usual, and respond to specific staff directions. During a shelter-in event, teachers are trained to increase situational awareness and conduct business as usual. The shelter-in directive will remain in effect until hearing the all clear message. The shelter-in has been lifted, followed by specific directions. The missing student protocol must immediately be followed when a student has been reported missing. The student's whereabouts cannot be confirmed, and there is a concern for the student's safety or well-being. Schools must be prepared to initiate a soft lockdown and assign staff to secure the exit doors in an effort to prevent the student from leaving the building. The missing student protocol must be activated if the whereabouts of the following students cannot be immediately confirmed: all students in grades K through 5, any student who has a known physical or emotional condition or a cognitive disability which interferes with his or her ability to travel independently and interact with the community. In all other situations, schools must consider a number of relevant factors in determining whether the situation requires the activation of the protocol, including whether the student has a prior history of leaving the building, whether the student is dealing with a crisis or trauma or is otherwise vulnerable, whether the student's parent has informed the school of a prior commitment or appointment that requires the student to leave early, and lastly, whether the age and/or maturity of the student is a cause for concern regarding the student's well-being. When a missing student protocol is activated, you will hear the following sample message. This is a missing child protocol. The student we are looking for is Johnny. Please call the main office if you have Johnny. You should lock your door, take attendance, and if you have the missing student, call the number that was announced over the loudspeaker. All adults who are not supervising students must do the following when they hear an activated door alarm. Immediately report to the door where the alarm has been activated to observe conditions and to determine the possible cause of the alarm. That is, staff or students observed in the stairwell, student running from scene in the hallway, or the door propped open. Immediately call the appropriate office and/or main desk to report the specific location of the door alarm that was activated and share any observations. Lastly, if the person who hears the door alarm is someone in possession of a two-way radio, for example, an administrator, dean, security, school aide, or if a school safety agent is present, immediately use the radio to report the specific location of the door alarm that was activated to other staff with radios so that everyone can respond with accurate information. For all adults who are supervising students when they hear an activated door alarm, they should immediately call the appropriate office and/or main desk and report the specific location of the door alarm that was activated. They should then immediately look outside the classroom window and/or look outside the classroom door in an effort to observe anything that may provide additional information, such as a staff member or student walking away from the door. Lastly, they should report observations to staff members and/or school safety agents who respond to the door alarm. We recommend that all parents and guardians register to receive notifications about events in your neighborhood. You can register more than one address and choose what types of notifications you want to receive. You can do so by going to www.nyc.gov/notify-NYC. This series of new safety videos are useful tools that demonstrate how building response teams operate and how school buildings use the general response protocols during an emergency. Please take the time to watch the following videos and share them with your families to ensure that our school is well equipped in the event of an emergency. These videos are used to train students and families during the school year. Use the links below to access the individual protocols. If you have questions, you can email your questions to d24q585@schools.nyc.gov. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.